Greetings. Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. Tonight, I am excited to have another doctor as my guest, a real MD. Dr. Yasapa. While autochthonous to Turtle Island, Dr. Yasapa lives in Southeast Asia, where he spends his time writing Phoenician Hebrew language books and teaching live online Phoenician Hebrew and English grammar courses to students all over the world. Dr. Yasapa is the founder of an online law school best known for its 6-month Deuteronomy Chapter 28 courses, which consists of a free live online 8-week Ancient Phoenician Paleo Hebrew course and a free live online 6-week speaking and reading skills course. Course enrollment requires the purchase of several course books authored by Dr. Yasapa, whose mission is to reveal how Moses and the ancient House of Yasaharla Israelites understood the Hebrew scriptures when they were alive at the time each book was originally written. Dr. Yasapa has a global perspective, having studied and worked on 3 continents. He holds a medical doctor, MD degree, MBA, BS from an HBCU, and is certified in technology, entrepreneurship, and commercialization. He is a former general education GED teacher, substitute teacher, and life and job skills teacher. Dr. Yasapa is the author of several Hebrew language books and a biochemistry book. He is also a serial entrepreneur with vast experience in healthcare, publishing, and education. It is my pleasure to welcome to Office Hours with Dr. J, Dr. Yasapa. Welcome. Now you got to rock with me. Come on, you got to do this now. When the music is still playing.
I like the music. The music is good.
You got to rock with me now. Come on, you got to get into it. I know it's early in the morning over there.
This is nice. You made this yourself?
I know. Brother Hassan, I wrote it.
Really?
So that's my theme song. Dr. G. It'll make you I woke up. Listen, I woke up one morning and it was in my head. So I called Brother Hassan Ghaziel Bey, who is he's a very accomplished astrologer, and he does music and so forth. And I sang it to him, and within by the end of the day, he had my theme song. But it took by the next day we had perfected it, and he took a couple of snippets of me saying, "Yeah, that's me." It's actually my voice. We put it all together, him talking to me, and got the beat, and the rest is history. Everybody singing Dr. G. And when it goes off, when the show goes off, I let it play out. And I noticed that sometimes half the people that were on the live, they stay on. I think they're just rocking. It's catchy. Dr. G. But welcome, Dr. Yasapa. Listen, Grand Rising, because where you are, it is, let me see, what is the time? It's 8:19 p.m. here on Tuesday evening. It is 8:19 a.m. Wednesday. Where you are, correct?
That's right. Well, 7:19.
Well, 7:19. Well, early in the morning. Let's put it like that. It's tomorrow early. So, anyway.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to be with you and your audience.
Yes. Well, and I have a lively group. I have a lively group that loves whatever we put out here. At least they try to love it. And you and I made contact a little over a month or so ago, and I'm glad we were able to make the connection to get you. I'm going to let this run under here a little bit while we're talking. And I purposely left some of the words out of the name of the school because I wanted to make sure that nothing got flagged. So, but I have been running your the banner for probably the last couple of months, ever since we met. And I do apologize because I do not have my book in front of me, but I want to thank you for sending me the book that you sent me. It's in here. It's in here, and it's somewhere in here. But today got away from me, and then my last little thing that happened. We're not gonna talk about that. I had to have a little doctor-patient conversation with you, and I appreciate your advice and counsel, and I will take that under serious advisement and go out and purchase that particular fruit and begin to consume it. So I thank you. But listen, you have a very unique perspective. First of all, they call them expats, so I called you an expatriate. But I know you, as you say, you're autochthonous to Turtle Island. You were born. Tell us about yourself and how you ended up where you are. Before we get into the lesson, and I know you're going to teach us some stuff because I'm pretty sure, if nothing else, the title that you gave me, you have been mine out of a fortune, and you actually said how to get it back, but for purposes of shortening the what they give me to put a header on, I couldn't put it all there. But I'm sure a lot of people wanted to know, what have I been mind F out of, and how the F am I going to get it back? The doctor is in the house and he is going to tell us. But before you get into that, I want us to learn a little bit about who you are and how you got from over here where most of us are, not all of us. I have viewers that are in different, on different parts of planet Earth. But you are, most of us probably for the most part are on Turtle Island or a Mexum. You're not. You're escaped, but you were born here. You came in here. You incarnated here, but you're somewhere else. So tell us a little bit about you and how you ended up in the field that you are, because you are a medical doctor, but that's not where you focus right now.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about me. I entered this world in the Ohio territory, and of course, born in captivity, and went through K through 12. Very interesting. In elementary school, I was a really, really good student. When I went to junior high, it went downhill for me, academically, because looking back, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for us, if you know what I mean, the education. When I got into high school, I was a terrible student. I mean, absolutely among the worst, right? But after high school, I started to see things, right? I was afraid to be poor. And I worked in construction, like cement, roofing, all of that. And then when I was about 19 or 20, I think, I said, hey, I can't do this no more. And I went to college. I went to Central State. And I wound up graduating from Central State with the bachelor's degree in water resources management, which is a combination of civil engineering and policy. So I did that. Then I got a scholarship to go do a master's degree, full scholarship. They paid me the whole 9 yards. So I did a total reversal academically at the HBCU. I went into like a public, what is it called? Master's of Public Administration. Yeah, that's what I went into. And I didn't like it at all, right? So I left that, and then I went to do an MBA at Case Western Reserve. And, it's a private school, and the treatment was completely different. And I felt like a customer, and I did very, very well. And I went out and I started working for one of the investment banks. And I really enjoyed that job. I loved it. But then there was a market crash and things started happening. And, if you work for the bank, you got to protect the bank. And I didn't want to do that, right? People were being hurt, right? People were being hurt. So I left that and I started publishing a magazine. That magazine took me into healthcare. What I was doing, I was advertising daycare centers. Like, you know, those magazines back in the day, you could get it and it had like all the cars in your area for sale. Well, I did something like that with daycare centers.
Oh, okay.
At the time, you couldn't get that information publicly. You had to like go through the government office. So I went out and I sold advertisement. I did all of these kind of creative things to get that going. And I noticed that the children were very, very sick. So I came up with a plan, put it together, approached the government. They actually gave me a contract to open a medical and dental practice. And through that medical and dental practice, me being an MBA and not an MD, a lot of the medical doctors and dentists that were working for me, they didn't like it, right? Because are we still on?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, they didn't like it because I wasn't an MD. Well, long story short is I decided to go and get an MD degree, okay? And so I went to school overseas. I started in Europe. I finished in Asia. And I stayed in Asia until 2015. Then I went back to the US and realized that it doesn't feel like home anymore, amongst other things. So I moved back over. I moved to Peru. I went to Peru. And from Peru, I came to where I'm at right now. So that's how I got into medicine.
That's how you got on the different continents, right?
That's how I got on the different continent, yeah. But in terms of me finding out who I am, I did that in Philippines. And I have to give Grand Sheik credit for waking me up to my autochthonous, indigenous heritage, so on and so forth. Because when I was overseas, I had so many problems. You know, when you're an expat and you need something, like I was studying there, I was doing the work in the hospitals and all of that. So you have all these immigration issues and people try to take advantage of you, right? So nationality became something that I saw immediately was important. And it was something that we don't deal with in the US, right? But over there, it was extremely important. Like if you were a foreigner, you were just, you know, you were just there for them to take your money. So anyway, so that's how I really began to wake up watching Grand Sheik. But when I say Grand Sheik, I mean Grand Sheik Tashriq Bey. Watching his videos, learning about law, learning about history and all of these things. So that was really where I got my foundation. And eventually, I started to gravitate more toward Yasaharla. So a lot of people, Doc, call Yasaharla Israel, or they'll say Israelites. But that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to Yasaharla, the Hebraic appellation, designation for a people. So anyway, long story short, I wrote this biochemistry book. And the whole idea of the biochemistry book came from icons. I had been studying, what's the brother's name? There's a brother, he did a lecture on the unity of languages, like where they evolve from, what language evolves from what. Booker T, yeah, Professor Booker T. And I was so impressed and touched with that I decided to write a biochemistry book to display how I studied biochemistry and other topics when I was in med school, using images as opposed to focusing on words, studying words and trying to remember and think in terms of words. So I wanted to present every chemical reaction or even every molecule as a simple everyday image or icon that we deal with every day. And by doing so, taking the complexity out of it, right? So showing the mechanism of action, how it actually functions properly, how it malfunctions, using images that we see every day so that you can then relate that and you don't have to worry about remembering things. You're just see the picture, right? See the image. So long story short, I wrote that, published it, and that took me into Hebrew. Of course, Hebrew, our language, it's pictographic. They call it pictographs. The pictographs represent objects that we use in our culture. And they have all these very interesting characteristics. So coming out of the biochemistry book, I went into writing the Hebrew language books. So that's how I that's how I got into this. Are you there? Doc, are you there? I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'll keep talking. So from the Hebrew language books, I've written several. Everything from 911 Ibriath Rescue, Ancient Phoenician Paleo Hebrew, which tells you each pictograph. It gives you the meaning, all of the relevant information. That book is the textbook for the free live online Ancient Phoenician Paleo Hebrew course, which is a big course. You get a lot of information. The basics of what I teach in the course are in the book. So in the book, you won't find the cultural context information related to each pictograph. But I teach you how to deal with each pictograph in terms of what it represents and means in a word. I go through grammar, but it's an overview. It's an overview of everything. So when you move into the different courses, you can get the more specific stuff. So I went from the ABCs, if you will. Doc, are you there? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Okay, so I'll keep talking. I don't know what's going on. So I went from the pictographic books into books. The next significant book was the Ten Commandments book, where I show how each word is constructed from root, prefix, infix, suffix, the etymology of each word, and how it affects the meaning of the verses. And I teach the analytical skills, not in the book, but in the class. There's a Ten Commandments class. But the whole purpose of this is to show you Jeremiah 8, verse 8 occurrences. So what is that? I'll show you later. Then I wrote the I Can Read book, the significant book, which is Deuteronomy Chapter 28, verse 1 through 14, which is the blessings, which is what we're going to talk about today in this live stream. I'm going to show you how you've been cheated, literally cheated through psychological operations out of blessings that you have a right to, a birthright to. Doc, I don't know if we're still on. I'm going to come out and try to come back in. I don't know what's going on. One moment. One moment. Oh, I'm still on? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I thought I got kicked off. Okay, so the book that I wrote and that I'm teaching a class with now, and by the way, if you want to come to the class, you get four free classes. You can just come in and participate, be active in everything. So let's get into the topic, because I want to show you how you've been cheated. Okay. I want to show you how you've been cheated. And we're going to start with looking at this scripture here in Jeremiah 8:8. Now, people say that the Bible has no errors. It's perfectly preserved by people say it's been perfectly preserved by the Most High, right? And I'm going to show you that that's not true. In fact, let me try to share the screen. Okay, I think it's sharing. In fact, the heritage was lost. I wouldn't say lost. Let me rather say taken away. Okay, it was taken away from us. But I want to show you right here that everything in the Bible is not true. Okay, this is Jeremiah 8:8. Our task as being the House of Yasaharla is to identify these instances so that we can correct it. Okay, because the scripture does say that it would be given back. So this is Jeremiah 8:8. So this is the New International Version. It says, "How can you say we are wise, for we have the law of the Most High?" So when you see capital Lord, that refers to the Tetragrammaton. So I'll explain maybe later, or if you come to class, why I say the Most High. How can you say we are wise, for we have the law of the Most High, when actually, notice this, the lying pen of the scribes have handled it falsely? That should be clear. Next verse, New Living Translation. How can you say we are wise, because we have the word of the Most High, when your teachers have twisted it by writing lies? Okay, teachers twisted it by writing lies. English Standard Version. How can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us, but behold, the lying pen of the scribes have made it into a lie? So it's clear that there are instances where things are not true in the Bible. Okay, but let's continue. When I teach in my courses, anyone who's taken the class can tell you that we do an exhaustive study. We consider everything. And one of the skills you'll learn at Zion Law School is the discipline of doing an exhaustive consideration of all the resources, but then beyond that, developing the analytical skills to be able to handle the information so that you can uncover and make decisions that benefit you, instead of believing what some translator wrote, or what some commentator wrote. So we as a people have to take this document back and learn to translate it, learn to render it ourselves, right? Take back our heritage, and then put the proper meaning back into it as it was supposed to be, or as it was understood by Moses and our ancestors. So this is the whole process part of it. But we'll get into more technical things later. But I want to establish the point, this is a critical point, that all things that you read in scripture is not true. But you need to, like Grand Sheik always says, we need to understand grammar, right? We need to understand grammar and parts of speech. Because if you can pronounce words, that does not mean you can read. And we as a people have been conquered psychologically and through not being able to read. So let's continue. English Standard Version. How can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us, but behold, the lying pen of the scribes have made it into a lie? Okay, Berean Study Bible. I'm right here. How can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us, when in fact the lying pen of the scribes have produced a deception? So a deception. Let's get a technical definition of these words that we're looking at. Deception. Okay, so we'll look at the meaning. And Doc, I'm going to have to bear with me, please, because I have to go back and figure out how to do all of this screen sharing. So, okay, so here we are. Deception, the action of deceiving someone. Okay, so when we look at the similar words, deceit, duplicity, double dealing, fraud. So you hear a lot of people in the Moorish community talking about fraud, right? So we're dealing with fraud. Okay, we're dealing with fraud. But for the sake of time, we won't go through every meaning. But let's look up now lie and see if we let's get a meaning here. A lie, verb, okay, of a person or animal. Oh, no. Okay. All right. So now the way, direction, or position in which something lays. Two, to remain kept in the Pacific state. That's very interesting. Well, they don't have the meaning of lie in the dictionary. Well, let's go back. Well, everybody knows what lie is, so let's not waste time with that. But anyway, let's see what we come up. Isn't that interesting? Do you guys see this? Okay, let's try lying. To exist. Well, okay, that's very interesting. They don't have that in there. Okay, so let me go back to, what was the other word that they used? Does anyone think it's interesting that they don't have the definition of lie in the dictionary? Did I spell it wrong? Okay, present participle of lie. They still don't have anything. That's very interesting. All right. Okay, so here, the noun, telling of lies or false statements. Untruthfulness, right? Untruthful, as an adjective, it means containing lies, deliberately untruthful, deceitful, false. Okay, so this is what Jeremiah 8:8 is telling us. Okay, so there it is. Let's go back to Jeremiah 8:8, and we'll just look at maybe one or two more. And I think the point should be well established. Okay, let's look at the King James Version for all those people who only believe in the King James Version. It says, how can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us? Look, the false pen of the scribes certainly works falsehood. So you can even tell by the way that's written. It's written in a way that's unclear and confusing. So I would say it's written in a deceitful way, right? Rather than coming straight out and saying, that it's a lie or deception. Now, notice the other King James Bible. How do you say, ye are wise, and the law of the Most High is with us? Lo, certainly in vain, the pen of the scribes is in vain. This is deceptive. It's not clear that this is talking about deceit and a lie. Okay, so this would be, in my opinion, an example of Bible translators being deceptive. Okay. We've seen how other Bible translators have rendered this verse. So let's stop with the contemporary English version right here. It says, you say we are wise because we have the teachings and the laws of the Most High. But I say that your teachers have turned my words into lies. So this would be the Most High saying that your teachers have turned his words into lies. So what words? Let's look at this more closely. We see here that it says law. So whenever we see law, that takes us back to the commandments. And I can show you today, if we have time, an example, an actual occurrence of one of these laws that's a lie. And a lot of people will get upset about that, but this is Jeremiah 8:8. It's not my opinion. You can see it right here. Okay, again, here in the Good News translations, it says, how can you say that we are wise and that you know my laws? Look, the laws have been changed by dishonest scribes. The laws have been changed by dishonest scribes. So people who are just reading scripture and they are unaware of this, they have no clue. The fraud is being perpetrated upon them psychologically in more ways than one. And I'm going to show you that when we go into Deuteronomy 28, verse 1 through 14, which is where the blessings are recorded. I'm going to show you how you have been cheated, being deceived out of the great fortune that you have a right to, a divine right to. That's your birthright. If you can get past this, if you can accept this and be willing to study, learn grammar, learn etymology, and learn how to handle these documents independently on your own by coming through Zion Law School. Okay, so I think that should be very clear for everybody. Now, let me go back and stop the screen share and go to, let me see, how did I do that? Go to, so now we're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 28. This is a tool that everybody needs to know, regardless of what your nationality is, your whatever your bloodline nationality is. It's everything has been mixed up, right? So in terms of going back to a specific, are you getting, am I getting feedback, Doc?
Dr. Yasapa.
Yes.
Dr. Yasapa.
Yes.
Hey, it's Aminaru. Can you hear me?
Yo, Shalom, Aminaru, how are you?
Shalom, brother. Hey, Dr. G is trying to work out some technical difficulties. I'm Aminaru. I'm her co-host on her Sunday show. So I'll be sitting in with you until she figures it out. But
okay, so am I good in terms of on my side? Can everybody hear and see me?
yes, sir. And see you with me.
Okay, so should I continue? I kind of lost you. I'll just keep going. I'll assume that you guys, can you confirm that I'm still going, that you guys can see me? I'm trying to screen share. Let's see, hold on. Deuteronomy 28. Okay, so here we are at Deuteronomy 28. This is a very popular research tool. Everybody should learn how to deal with this, in my opinion. Okay, especially if you are Yasaharla, or if you think you're Yasaharla, or if you just want to free yourself from the mental enslavement that we've been subjected to, regardless of what nation of people we go back to through our bloodline. This is the way out of mental slavery, in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you can get all the money, you can get all the money there is to get in the world, but if your mind is still in slavery, or if your mind is still conditioned for you to be a failure, right? If you're conditioned to be a servant instead of a master, all that money won't help you one bit. In fact, it might wind up being your demise. So you can do all the political organizing that you want. You'll always go back to the same position of servitude unless and until you free your mind. So we have been dominated and enslaved, captured and oppressed mentally through the use or the misuse of scripture. Okay, now I'm focusing only on the Bible. I'm not focusing on any other document that's been used as a religious document or tool. I'm only focusing on the Hebrew scriptures because that's what I know. So, and I want to try to help you to free yourself from this by showing you in the language where and how you've been deceived. Not me telling you, but showing you and then teaching you how to build your analytical capacity so that you can see and do and make these verses work for you. and free your mind, because the things that you learn from the things that I teach you about the language and the grammar, the etymology, the cultural context, and all of these things that we go over in Zion Law School, these things will make it abundantly clear when, where, and how you've been deceived. So let's take a look at the blessings. Okay, so this is again Deuteronomy chapter 28, and these are this is the heading, the blessings of obedience. Okay, this is the interlinear Bible. Now I'm going to go through this just to orient you, but if you want to learn how to interpret and deal with or handle all of this information, come to class. I think I'll give a link to Dr. G or something. So you have the top line. This is for orientation purposes. You have the top line. This is your Strong's number. Okay, this one right here, that's another, I'll just call it Bible dictionary. Okay, so when you hear the word a lexicon, okay, that's a Hebrew lexicon or a Greek language lexicon. Okay, so every word in the King James Bible is indexed to a number. That's called a Strong's number. Below here, if you look at here, this is called a transliteration. Okay, a transliteration. These are equivalent English characters or equivalent English letters or sounds equivalent to this. So for example, here, this is modern Hebrew script. This is not our script, in my opinion. Some people say that Ezra brought forth this script, but as far as I know, I don't deal with that. What I deal with is the ancient Paleo and late, with the focus on the ancient and the Paleo. Okay, so this is modern Hebrew script. Okay, and this is modern Hebrew pronunciation on how to speak these modern Hebrew pictographs. Now you notice that there have dots and dashes. Okay, dots and dashes. Those are vowel pointings. These do not exist in our language, in the ancient language. This stuff only complicates things. In my opinion, it's another indication of fraud, because they've made this so that average people cannot read it, because they don't have the discipline or the skill or the patience to learn how to do this. Okay, so it's a way of locking something up and having it in publicly available, but locked up. Below that, you see the rendering. So this is how the translators, and you saw from Jeremiah 8:8, there are a lot of different versions of the Bible. Each version of the Bible renders the words however they want to render them. Okay, there's a technical way you're supposed to do it, but you, of course, you don't have to keep to it. You can put whatever you want, right? So our job is to find those instances where they put something in there to support a doctrine, or where they put something in there to mislead you, or to make you break the Most High's laws. But in Zion Law School, I don't like to say breaking laws, because that has a religious connotation. The Most High gave us instructions. So Hebraically, it means instructions. So he gave us instructions on how to live, which is completely different from what we learn in religion, especially Christianity. There's a focus on morality in religion, okay? And that doesn't exist in the instructions. The focus is more on assets, asset preservation, and heritage, passing assets from one generation to another, commerce, so on and so forth, and property rights. In contrast to Christianity, where there's a morality focus. And this is the primary way where you've been screwed out of your birthright, out of the fortunes and wealth that are rightly there for you, available now, if you begin to follow the Most High's instructions. And we'll get into that. So below this right here where the cursor is, this is the part of speech. This is the part of speech, okay? Part of speech. This is where we have been miseducated intentionally, so that we cannot read and understand what a text is saying, because we don't understand. And it's nobody's, I mean, we didn't choose for it to be that way. I don't care how much education you have. Before Grand Sheikh Taj Sharif Bey started talking about all of this stuff, I never paid attention to it. I never realized that I had a deficit until he brought it to my attention. And then I began to focus on it, right? So I hope that as a result of some of you listening to me speak today, you will begin to shift your attention and focus on grammar, parts of speech, and etymology, okay? Because this is the key to freeing your mind, okay? This is the key. Now let's go back up here to the Strong's number. The Strong's number, as I mentioned, this is the lexical or the Hebraic meaning of the word, okay? Now, what you should be aware of is that whenever you use these software applications, it does not give you a complete meaning of the word, okay? It gives you a summation of meanings of the word. So you have to buy the physical book if you want to get everything. And Strong's is an introductory lexicon. So it's not the academic lexicon, it's an introductory, but it's a good way to start. All right, so let's go to do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions? You guys still riding with me? So I'm gonna pull up another screen. Let me pull up.
Hey, Dr. Yasapa.
Yes.
We're still on. Can you see the comment section?
Okay. Okay. Let me see.
Yeah, look over to your right, and you can see the comment section.
Oh shoot, that's a lot. Can you can you help? Can you help me with it? Can you read some of the more interesting comments, and I'll try to answer, and then I'll also try to find. Can you work with me like that, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So if anyone in the chat room have any questions, go ahead and post them up now, and I'll ask the doctor your question.
So while you do that, I'm going to go to Deuteronomy Chapter 28 and read through something.
Okay.
And
so far, they said no questions. You're doing a great job.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, good.
Oh, no. Have you got any list of the lexicon forms?
Any list of the that's not a what I don't know what they mean by that.
I don't know either.
Let me just say this. The way you use come to Zion, zionlawschool.org if you want to learn how to use the lexicons. Lexicons are organized in a specific way, okay? You've got to first know the 22 pictographs, right? You got to know your ABCs before you can even crack it open and find a word. So, but I can tell you that they're arranged by root words, okay? By root words, and they're vowel pointing. But here's something important to know. You cannot pronounce a root word. A root word is only an index of the most general meaning of all words that derive from that root. So I hope that's clear to everybody. You cannot speak a root word until you put it in its proper grammatical form and conjugate it, okay? So
someone said they're not advanced enough to ask questions.
That's why we're here. We're going to get you there.
That's right.
Why we're here.
There's no such thing as a dumb question.
That's right. That's how you learn. But this is, you know, my opinion, this is one of the most important things we can do as a people is to see what these scriptures actually say, because this is what they use to enslave us mentally. You know, for example, people are afraid to die. I mean, when you come to right down to it, they're afraid to die. And when you're afraid to die, that's going to severely limit your options of what you're willing and not willing to do to get free, right? Because, you know, death is part of life, right? And sometimes you have to pay the ultimate cost to free yourself or to free your family, to free your nation, however that might happen. But through religion, the fear of hellfire, the fear of purgatory, the fear of all of these things, right, that they've taught us severely limits our willingness and our ability to stand up and be men and women and to free ourselves. Okay, so we have to break down these. We've got to come out of this, right? And it's really easy to do. It's really easy to do. All we have to do is uncover the Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences, and we do that through learning grammar, parts of speech, etymology, and that's why I give all props to Grand Sheikh Taj Sharif Bey, because he really brought that to my attention and made me realize just how important that is and how that was the primary mechanism. And, you know, as I understood the way he speaks, that's one of the primary mechanisms of our oppression, right? Because we cannot read. Okay, so let me try to go back to Deuteronomy. I'm going to try to screen share again. Welcome back, Dr. G.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay, I had to replug stuff up. I know I'm looking a little crazy, y'all, but this has been frustrating. But I've been listening the whole time. Trust me.
Hey, Dr. G. Dr. G.
Yes. Yes.
All right, now that you got it, I'm going to exit out the show and I'm going to be in the chat room. I'm going to be listening, okay?
Well, you can help moderate then, okay, in the chat room if you don't mind. Like,
all right, well, I'm going to sit back and listen because I'm enjoying the doctor's knowledge right now.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
I look kind of blurry. I think I'm on the camera of my computer and not the camera of my Logitech is going crazy.
Logitech. Oh, okay.
Do the best I can.
So let me try to move back in the screen. I got to move all the way off to the side. How's that? Am I in the middle? Okay.
Good. I'm blurry. Yeah, I've lost my beautiful, expensive camera.
So feel free to at any point ask questions. Anybody out the way I teach, just ask a question. Okay, no stupid questions. Interrupt me, ask a question, and I'll stop and I'll provide the best answer that I can.
Okay.
Okay. So, and plus it makes it more interesting when people are asking questions. So let me try to go back here. So can everybody see we're at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. We also looked at this in the interlinear. Okay. So I'll go back to that. We're going to use the interlinear as we evaluate, examine, et cetera, these verses. So you guys see Deuteronomy 28. Can you confirm that, Dr.?
We do. We see it. They see it.
Okay, great. So this Deuteronomy 28. So verse, Dr. G, can I ask you to read, or would you like for me to do it?
Well, Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, is that, or is that 28? Yeah, verse 1. Verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Doc, can I ask you? I want to demonstrate how we do this in class. Can I ask you to give me your commentary on that?
On what I just read?
Yes.
So, are you okay?
Just give me a commentary. Like
basically, what I see is that if you, in layman's term, if you do what the Most High says to do, that you are going to be put in a position of power and authority over all other nations that are on the earth. And that's what it says.
Yes. Now let's take a look at this in Bible Hub, and let's compare the many renderings that the different versions of the Bible, how they have rendered this. Now, so when we read this in the King James, that, in my opinion, this is not straightforward, clear English. Okay, that's my opinion. So let's compare. This tool is good for comparison. So when we look at the New International Version, it says, if you what? Fully obey the Most High, your power, and carefully follow his commands, I give you today, the Most High, your power will set you high above all nations on earth. So, Dr. G, let's take a look at what fully means, okay?
Okay.
Fully. Now, we could, of course, go into the interlinear and do this, but this is faster. Okay, so fully, it says completely or entirely, to the furthest extent, no less or no fewer. Okay, no less or no fewer, used to emphasize an amount. So let's take a look at the similar meanings and see what we come. So completely, entirely, wholly, totally, thoroughly, perfectly, okay, exhaustively. So the question is, can the law, this is what the Christians say, or the religious people. The religious people will say the law can't be kept because nobody's perfect, okay? And I'm going to tell you that that's a deception. There's no perfection required. Exhaustively, intimately, so on and so forth. So let's go back to Deuteronomy 28. So the key words that I would like to focus on is fully obey. Well, that's a phrase, fully obey, carefully follow. So let's look at carefully, and let's look at the meaning that we're going to extract from this when we consider the precise meaning of words. Okay, Doctor, would you like to?
If are we looking carefully follow? Am I looking at the definition?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, even with these glasses on, I can't read that. I can't see.
How's that?
I see something like sorrowfully, I think. I'm not sure what I see.
How's that? Can you see that?
No.
Okay, so it says carefully in a way that deliberately avoids harm or errors, cautiously. So carefully, in a way that deliberately avoids harm or errors. Okay, so that doesn't say perfection, does it? That says you just have to act on the conservative side, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means if you don't know something, don't do it. If you're unsure, don't do it. Okay, so if you completely obey the Most High, your power, and follow all his commands. Now, when we look at this word, this is instructions. The better Hebraic meaning is instructions. So when you do all of this stuff in a way that what? In a way that deliberately avoids harm or errors, cautiously. Okay. And then it says that I give you today. So let's look at today. What does today mean? That's the precise meaning of today.
Is that say current day or date?
Yes, on or in the course of this present day. That should be clear, right? Mm-hmm. On or in the course of this very day. Okay, similar, it says this day, this very day, before tomorrow. Actually, I like before tomorrow. Yeah, okay. So now when we go back to this, let's apply what we just learned, okay? So we'll go back to read this verse. It says, if you completely obey the Most High, your power, and act in such a way that avoids harm, that deliberately avoids harm or errors, okay, and follow all his commands or instructions that I give you today. That means what? That means that what he told Moses that day, not what he told Adam, not what he told Enoch, not what Isaiah said, not what Nehemiah said, not what David said. He says, if you fully obey the commands or the instructions that I give you today. That's a timestamp. Does everybody see that? Does everybody see that? So we have to do what was told to Moses on that day, which he told us. Okay, it says, then the Most High, your power, will set you high above all nations of the earth. Okay, so this is a timestamp. These are our instructions, not something that was told in the past to somebody else, and not something that was told to the future or tomorrow to somebody else. But it was what was told to Moses on that very day. Okay, so in other words, being able to take back our fortune that the Most High promised us depends on us following the instructions that he gave to Moses, nobody else. Okay, I hope everybody can see that. What's the result or the benefit or the reward? It says the Most High will set you high above all the nations of the earth. Okay, now let's look at the New Living Translation. If you fully obey the Most High, your power, and carefully keep all his commands that I'm giving you, again, it says today, not yesterday, not in the future. Fully obey everything that I am giving you today, that which he gave Moses. The Most High, your power, will set you high above all the nations of the world. Okay, of the world. And we have been mind-effed out of this, because instead of following these instructions, most of our people are into religion, the Christianity, all of the religions. Okay, that's what they're into, and they're following morality issues as opposed to following these instructions, which have to do with group commerce, passing property from one generation to another, how we deal with each other. Well, I just said it in terms of commerce and property rights, right? So the whole thing about adultery and all of these things, that's a matter of property rights. And if you want to understand what that is, come to Zion Law School, and I'll show you how that's a matter of property rights. Okay,
there's a question.
Okay.
Here, so I'm just going to post it up. Variah L says, are we supposed to observe the customs of, is it Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot? Are we supposed to make those observations?
Let me say it. Let me say it like this. I don't want to stir up trouble amongst the Hebrew Israelite community. So I'll leave that to your personal choice. What I will say is learn this contract so you can answer that question yourself without me telling you, because that's something you need to learn. I'm speaking to the person who wrote the comment. That's something that you need to learn, and I can teach you, but I'm not gonna tell you something like that, because I don't tell people what to observe, what to do, what to believe, and what to think. I teach, and you have to make your own decisions. Okay, so I'm gonna keep peace.
You're gonna keep peace. Okay. Here's another question. Blah blah blah. It just skipped. Where did it go? I wanted to pull it up. Oh yeah, here. This one's a good one. Would you consider the Most High power meaning nature's law?
According to Western law?
No, I guess when you're making the reference to the Most High, what is the Most High? Because we also have our higher self and our lower self, and so we want to make sure that we're there's some things that we have been taught as a part of religion. Yes. That give us these images and deities and so forth, and take away everything that has to do with the fact that there's a scripture that says the greater one lives on the inside of us. So if the greater one is on the inside of us, then who is the Most High? When you're referencing the Most High.
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so let's deal with that. So in religion, they have the primary deity is the tetragrammaton, right? The tetragrammaton is the primary deity. Okay. Then you have the L deities. Okay. The Genesis chapter 1 deities, and then you have the tetragrammaton Genesis chapter 2 deity. So in both there is an act of creation, right? So people say that there's the I am, right? This is supposed to be the tetragrammaton, I am that I am, or Ahaya Ashar Ahaya, or I cause to be, whatever that whole thing. I could show you right now, if you like, that tetragrammaton is not the Most High. I can show you that. I teach this in my classes. The Most High is exactly what it says. It's the Most High power. So it's relative. So for example, if this is high, this is Most High. So Most High is always coming at you from a downward position, okay? Because it's the Most High. So in terms of power, everything else is below the Most High, okay? So the Most High is that power, that energy, that creative force who created all things, okay? Now, there are deities who also have their own creation. For example, the hybrid. So I can show you in Genesis chapter 1, in fact. Do we have time for that, Doc? Or maybe I'll show the video.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So let me go through. Let's go through this. It might be easier for me. Would it be okay if I just read this stuff out of the Strongs, or do you want me to put it on the screen?
No, you can do whatever it works best for you. I know that someone made a comment that, you have not, here's your opportunity to teach, but you're avoiding teachable questions. And I think what you're saying is that not that you won't teach those, but some of these you'd rather do within in the comfort of your online school. Am I correct? It's not that you're not going to, or you're not willing to teach that. And let me say this to those that are listening, and I don't know to the extent of what happened and so forth. And one of the reasons why I didn't put links in when I signed, when I made this particular show up, is because I realized there was difficulty when you have places like, the alphabet, let me call these, let me see, these online sources that we have to use to broadcast. If somebody says something negative about you and gets you ousted off of their platforms and so forth, if you put a link on or say certain things, if you've been in that position of being ostracized by these entities, and I'm being careful because I know there's algorithms and so forth, then they will shut down what you're saying based on that. And some of the things we're not saying on here have to do with the fact that there had been prior situations where this particular school, when somebody can make a complaint about if they don't like the fact that they think you're being anti, S and ends with a C, but you're not. You're just telling the truth. And if they make a complaint about you, then you're blacklisted. So we're being careful. I really wanted to do this show, but I don't want to do anything that is going to bring the wrath of the social media popo on this. You just won't. You may not get what I'm saying, but it would make more sense for some of these things that you would come to the class, and the classes are free. Am I correct? It's just that you have to purchase the books.
Those two classes are free. The I Can Read and the 911 Ivory After Rescue Ancient Phoenician Paleo Hebrew course, those are free. I think 8 and 6 week courses, and I can teach you that. But a public platform is not, like Dr. G said, is not the place to discuss things that are going to make people angry and want to get you kicked off of your platform. So for example, I had a terrible time with Amazon. They delisted my books, right? It took me 5 or 6 months to work through that, and a threat to sue them for religious persecution, right? So these things can be avoided. All you have to do is come to class, click the link, right? Click the link, come to class, and you can learn. So
look, I'm like, for instance, I'm running right now by this book today.com, because that's our sister Cynthia Martinell. I mean, we might have to stop. We may have to pull our books and materials off of that particular platform, but there are platforms that are ours that sometimes we don't know about that will get our material out and get it to our people that need to see it. So, you know, we need to realize that there's a concerted effort to what is it? I want to say to keep a lot of information from being disseminated. And we're in a crucial time. We're actually, you know, we talked about this. We are in the apocalypse. This is the great apocalypse that has been, you know, taught and mistaught and misrepresented in regular Christian theology. What it is an uncovering and a revealing of truths. And one of the things I know that you were sharing with me with regard to this Deuteronomy 28, because I was like, I'm like, well, what about a blessing? Because we know blessing means to bleed or something. And you let me know that in that original language, it actually did not mean that. It meant to to explain what
it means that the Most High is going to, as a reward for you following his instructions, he's going to kneel before you like a father kneels before a child and gives you a basket of presents or gifts. That's what blessings mean. So in our language, we are concrete. So we deal with everything and almost only things that we can experience with our senses, like hearing, sight, so on and so forth. So the visual image of a blessing and the meaning of a blessing is literally the Most High kneeling before you to give you all of these riches, tangible riches that he promised you. That's the meaning of blessing. Okay, so you take that and compare it to the Christian or the religious meaning of blessings. It's completely different, right? Completely different. So just imagine the Most High kneeling before you like you're his child, kneeling down before you and giving you all of these wonderful riches, power, influence, make you the banker, right, of the whole world. Okay, make you the leader of commerce, make all the other nations your employees or your slaves. Okay, this is what the Most High is offering, to kneel before you and give you rulership, wealth.
Would you say, Dr. Yasapa, that the original state or position of the Moors would have been one of having received and were living out that blessing until something occurred to fall away from, or to disavow whatever they had received based on maybe not completely obeying or fully obeying?
I'm going to show you, because this is an important one. That's an excellent. I'm going to show you one of the worst things we can actually do is to call on other deities. And I'm going to show you what our ancestors did that got us jammed up. And this has to do with the Tetragrammaton. Okay, this Deuteronomy chapter 29. I'm going to share the screen. Doc, I'm going to run through these verses, okay, so people can get an understanding of this. So Deuteronomy 29. Okay, so this is Deuteronomy 29. Okay, Deuteronomy 29, and I'm going to read through. These are the terms of the covenant. Okay, covenant is a contract sealed with blood with the penalty of death for breaking it or for not following it, right? Hence, these are the curses. Okay, these are the terms of the covenant. So you see, we're dealing with a contract. These are the terms. Terms is a legal, lawful verbiage that you use in contracts, not religion. Okay, they replaced this contract with religion. These are the terms of the covenant or contract that the Most High commanded, or other versions will say gave to Moses to make with the Israelites. This should be Yasaharla in Moab, in addition to the covenant he made with them at Horeb. So let's continue, okay? Verse 2, Moses summoned all the Israelites and said to them, your eyes have seen all that the Most High did in Egypt to Pharaoh, to all his officials, and to all his land. With your own eyes, you saw the great trials, those signs and great wonders. But to this day, the Most High has not given you a mind that to understand, or eyes to see, or ears that hear. Notice this. Okay, these verses coming up. Verse 7. Oh, let me go down. Verse 9. Verse 9 is where I want to be. Verse 9. Carefully follow the terms of this covenant or contract so that you may prosper. These are the blessings in everything you do. All of you are standing today in the presence of the Most High, your power, your leaders and chief men, your elders, your officials, and all the other men of Israel, together with your children and wives and foreigners living in your camps who chop wood and carry your water. See, we had servants even then. You are standing here in order to enter into a covenant. You are standing here in order to enter into a contract with the Most High, your power. A covenant or contract that the Most High is making with you this day and sealing it with an oath. See, you always hear Grand Sheik talking about oath and being honorable. Okay, so you can relate this to those topics that you've learned from Grand Sheik about oaths and contracts, etc. 13, to confirm you this day as his people. Okay, to confirm you this day as his people, that he may be your power as he promised you and as he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am making this covenant or contract with its oath, not only with you who are standing here today in the presence of the Most High, your power, but also with those who are not here today. So this means us. This means we are a party to the contract. Okay, we're a party to the contract. The contract was sealed with oath. Okay, so verse 16. This is what the part that I really want to focus on. We've already established that there is a contract now. You yourselves know how we lived in Egypt and how we passed through the countries on the way there. You saw among them their detestable images and idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold. These are their deities. Okay, make sure no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turns away from the Most High, your power, to go worship these other deities of those nations. Make sure there is no root among you that produces such a bitter fruit. So the Most High is telling us, this is in fact the first commandment, right? Don't bring another deity or power before the Most High. There's a heavy consequence. But notice the rationale that's given in verse 19 here. When such a person hears the words of this oath or this contract, this covenant, and they invoke a blessing on themselves, in other words, they're saying, well, nothing's going to happen to me, right? They're rationalizing. They invoke a blessing on themselves, thinking, I will be safe even though I persist in my own way. They will bring disaster on watered land as well as dry. Now, if I look at this in the Hebrew, what this is going to tell me, the Hebraic meaning, is that the well-watered land, like the rivers, the swamp areas, as well as the agricultural land, all of that is going to be dried up. The land is going to be destroyed. Okay, that's very easy to show. So this is saying that the promised land will be destroyed. Your land will be destroyed. Of course, the land is what we were given, right? That's our promised land, part of our heritage. 20. Notice this, everybody, and think about Christianity. The Most High will never be willing to forgive them. The Most High will never be willing to forgive them. His wrath and zeal burn against them. Notice this, all the curses written in this book will fall on them, and disaster, according to all the covenants, according to all the curses of this contract, of this covenant written in this book of the law. So what I'm showing you here I'm setting this up to show you why we've been devastated and destroyed. Clearly, this is saying that the punishment for worshiping these other deities is going to be our land destroyed, us being kicked out of the land, and of course, we're going to experience disaster. Okay, so let me show you something, Dr. G.
Before you go there, Dr. Yasapa, the word never seems to be pretty like that final. So if that word never is there, or because you say how to get it back, so there must be some redemptive clause in the contract.
Yeah, well, that's yes, but it's talking about that person who did it.
You're talking about the person who caused it to happen, or the person who followed after what was idol and so forth, because you had a lot of people who have chased after so-called the things of that Rome has put before them. You know, many of us.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Okay. I'm going to show you. We'll go to Deuteronomy 30. Okay. So never, at no time in past, present, in past or future, on no occasion, not ever, not at all. Okay, now, I'll deal with your question right now. So let's go to Deuteronomy 30 because the Most High actually deals with that. So can everybody see my screen? Still, we're in Deuteronomy 30.
Did you have the same that was up?
Okay, so I got to go back. Okay, I got to stop share. Okay, so hold on. So I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is Deuteronomy 30. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, Deuteronomy 30. So, okay, so verse 30, chapter 30, verse 1. With all these blessings and curses I have set before you, those were set before us in Deuteronomy chapter 28. When all of these blessings and cursings that I've set before you come on you, and you take them to heart, wherever the Most High your power disperses you among the nations. So here, our people, our nation has already gone through the blessings. Okay, we can say with Solomon, and we've already gone through the curses. The land has been destroyed, and we've been kicked out and dispersed among the nations. That's what that is. Verse 2. And when you and your children return to the Most High your power and obey him with all your heart and with all your soul, according to everything I command you today. Again, that's what he said, Moses, right? Not in the past, not in the future, but today, which was through Moses. Verse 3. Doc, can you read verse 3, please? Can you see it, or should I read it?
Lord your God will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where he scattered you. Even if you have been banished to the most distant land under the heavens, from there the Lord your God will gather you and bring you back. He will bring you to the land that belonged to your ancestors, and you will take possession of it. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. You want me to stop there, or you want to keep going?
You can stop there.
All right. So there is a redemptive clause in the contract, in the covenant, in the contract. And so
Right.
when you say we have been mind-effed out of it, we've not been taught. First of all, we've not been taught that this refers to us, because
right.
all of the pictures, all of the images, and all of the inferences as to who the Most High, excuse me, our power, what is, has been us looking at something that was blue-eyed, blonde hair, pale skin, and that's the imagery that we put. So we've been following after even the imagery of who we think or what we think the Most High depicts, and then we know that there's no such imagery, because I believe that the energy or the power of the Most High to be more atomic, and maybe I'm not calling it right, but I don't see it formed into the shape of a man. Man created God in his image rather than the other way around, per se, that we've made so-called the image what we think God is, not necessarily us, but the mankind kind of made a God, and then man followed after what mankind put before us as the imagery of God, or what God, or the Most High, rather, our power is. And I like that. The Most High, your power, or, you know, I like that, because it also says to me that that's also an inward, that Most High, my power, is inside me.
Oh yes, oh yes. And you know what, Doc? You know the whole story about Moses coming out of the mountain and he had the 2 tablets, right? So we've been misled about that also. Like if what I last class what I showed is those tablets, they were not only written on stone, right? Either stones of fire or precious jewels. So now, if it's stones of fire, we're talking about a massive amount of energy capability, right? That can be used for whatever, okay? Or precious stones, but then also on our hearts. So it's inside of us, just like you said. The Most High wrote it on our heart. We don't need an intermediary. And so when you look at the Hebrew word, like for example, it says on the 2 stones, right? When you look at that, the meaning is twice, 2, both, and I don't remember what else. So it was written on those stones of fire, right? And also on our heart. So if we go back to speaking to what you're talking about, Doc, and this whole idea of I am. So I just want to show you something about what we're talking about right now. So in summation, well, let me go to this point. So if you look at verse 11, can you?
Yes. Now, now what I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. It's not up in heaven so that you have to ask who will ascend into heaven to get it and proclaim it to us so we may obey it. Nor is it beyond the sea so that you will have to ask who will cross the sea to get it and proclaim it to us so we may obey it. No, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart so you may obey it.
See, the Most High is telling us. Now, if I were to go to the verses where it shows that, you would see the correlation. He put it in our heart, right? And I'm going to show you something back in Deuteronomy 29. But what we're seeing now, Dr. G, we don't need a intermediary, right? It says in 11, now I'm commanding you today, it is not too difficult. So we can follow his instructions. We've been lied in Christianity, right? They say you can't keep the law. But the Most High is saying it's not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. Notice verse 12. It is not open heaven.
But when you go, before you go there, when you say it's not difficult, because as the law has been presented biblically, from a religious standpoint, there are things that most people struggle with at some point or another. One of the things, you know, for instance, you know, I think we had this conversation, and correct me if I'm wrong. We were even, you may have brought it up even, but when we talk about, say, thou shalt not commit adultery, for instance, or that, you know, if a man looks at a woman, you know, that's not his wife, then he has committed adultery already in his heart. But yet there's a tendency, we had this conversation for, you know, men, and there were times we see when if a man could afford to take care of multiple, say, wives and so forth, it was completely permissible and wasn't considered adultery. But yet there's a tendency for a lot of people, you know, and I've been through this myself, in that, you know, you get into a relationship and you have good intentions, and it serves its purpose for a specific period of time, and then it seems to lose it loses whatever it was that what brought the people together. And so you have this in the back of your head, you know, till death do us part, because that's in what's given as people are joined in, not matrimony, but in marriage. And so what is the death? You know, is the death physical, or is the death spiritual? Is the death is it the mission that or purpose that they came together? It is ended. Like a contract may have sometimes they have a beginning and an ending. Sometimes we know that the Most High is forever, but I'm saying, what is it when it comes to things that are written in those commandments that some people find it difficult to adhere to, that would keep them from these blessings, if you will, that you speak of in Deuteronomy and so forth?
Well, see, the Hebrew instructions are very, very different from what you find in the New Testament. So in our culture, in our heritage, a man and woman come together, right? The whole marriage thing is Roman. Marrying somebody for love, that's Roman. It's not Hebraic. We would come together, the man would provide, and the love would follow, right? The man would provide, the love would follow. The man, we were given a inheritance, land, so on and so forth, and then that's passed down from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
So we always had something, unless we fell upon hard times and we had to sell, not sell, but rent out our land. But we could become prosperous and bring in more women so that we could have more children, so that we could have more people working in our business, right? To expand our wealth. It was not like in today's world, things are focused on love, romance, and sex, right? And of course, we have material needs, but because we are under the curses, we don't have the financial, I'm talking about men, most men don't have the financial ability to maintain a wife, right? And we live in such an oppressive, I'm not there anymore, but in the US and other places, the psychological oppression is so great that, and the policies, the public policies are in place to cause people to do things that are antisocial and even break the law, right? So that's the issue. The laws are easy. Christianity has added their own stuff, right? Their own stuff. For example, women are told they have to be subservient to a man in Christianity, but we don't find that in the Hebrew culture. Women have their proper place and have even led the nation, right? A woman, the judge Deborah. Okay, so when a man is down, the woman is there to pick him up. But in Christianity, that's lost because a woman has to be subservient, right? She's underneath the man and she can never step up. So, but there are a lot of other differences. I don't know if I'm getting to what to the question you asked, but the laws that we hear about, many of them are not in the contract. So, and keep in mind that we're talking about the 10 commandments. See, when we go back to Deuteronomy 29, if we go through that whole thing, was it 29? Yeah, 29. It's going to say the 10 commandments. So salvation or restoration of our fortunes come through following the 10 commandments. And there's a whole bunch of reasons. A lot of the commandments that you hear people talking about, you can't do those outside of the promised land, right? Mm-hmm. In fact, if you try to do them outside of the promised land, that's you find yourself in trouble with the Most High, according to what he said. So what's operational right now is the 10 commandments, okay? And that's where we get our restoration. So when we look,
what about the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at? I mean,
I've read through those. I hear a lot of people talking about those. I've read through them, and I did not see any duplication myself. So,
because when you say you don't see anything, because you are looking at the Hebraic scriptures in their true text, in their true meaning, as opposed to what it's been interpreted for us. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah. See, because Christianity, all of this stuff derives back to the veneration of the giants, the Nephilim, the Rephaim. So all of the like when you look at the historical stuff, you see these huge structures, and sometimes you see images with these huge men and then little tiny people.
Right.
So these were giants. They actually ruled. They ruled. So even today, you find veneration of these giants masked behind common names of deities. But when you go back, it goes back to those giants. So, but anyway, that's like a whole other thing when we get into the giants and the deities. But
Well, they're mentioned. They mention Goliath, and then they mention the fact that the sons of men saw the daughters of men. I mean, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair and came into him, and giants. They produced giants, and these were like this. So the champions, if you will, the so-called men of renown, the Hercules, and all of these, the ones that were written in mythology that probably actually existed, because these were offsprings of so-called heavenly beings with earthly women that created this race. And then you're saying what we see in the depictions, the statues and so forth, the huge, that's what's showing their stature based versus that of normally, I guess, what would you call it? Normal birth. Normal man, woman come together of the same basic fiber or makeup, as opposed to, we see a lot of movies and so forth, like Jupiter Ascending and others, the Clash of the Titans, and you can go on and on and on. A lot of these, and these have been sort of depictions of things that actually maybe did exist at some period of time. Do you agree?
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
But the Bible doesn't. But the Bible, religion, does not deal with it in the sense of its, the fullness. It just, there's a little gloss over, and there were giants in the land, so they take out the book of Enoch and so forth. But I know that this is not what this particular interview or your class that you're doing right now.
We see it. It's referenced, Doc. It's referenced in Genesis chapter 1. See, this is another big one. This is a big one that will probably hurt a lot of people's feelings. Genesis chapter 1 is not talking about the creation of the universe. Okay, I did a whole video on this. I'll try to provide the link. So I want to show you guys something. So you guys see the interlinear Genesis chapter 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it says in the beginning. Let me go back to something that's easy for people to read. I'm going to show you, Doc, briefly. Show the audience that this is referring, that the giants are mentioned here. I'm going to show it to you. Let me go back to. Can you guys see the interlinear?
Yeah, we see it. It's kind of hard to see, but let me see. Let me bring it all the way up. Let me hear. Well, I've got it all the way up now. It's a little bit.
Okay. So do you see where it says? Well, can you see the highlight?
Yes.
Because this is Elohim. Most people are familiar with Elohim, right?
And please point out that in Hebraic and this Hebrew is left to right, right, as opposed to.
Yes. The Hebrew is read from right to left.
I mean, right to left. I'm sorry, right to left.
From the right side of the page to the left, whereas the English is read from left to right.
Left to right.
So we would begin reading here, go this way, go this way, go this way, go this way, go this way. Okay. So now when we read the English, we would start at the left and go this way, go this way, go this way. So this is the Hebrew word written in modern Hebrew script. This is the way the translators rendered the word. Okay. This is the meaning, the Hebraic meaning of the word in its various forms. Okay. Various forms mean various different spellings, which is the spellings indicate function. function of the word. In other words, grammar. Grammar. This is why we need to know grammar. So let's look at this word that's translated as God. In the modern Hebrew, this is the Elohim. Most people are familiar with Elohim, right? So Strong's number 430. Let's take a look at this, Doc. And I want to point some things out. So Strong's number 430. Number 1, Hebraic meaning, rulers, judges. Okay. 1b, divine ones. So rulers, judges, divine ones.
I don't know whether you have it up or no, we still see the.
So let me. Okay. Oh, really? So let me do it again. Okay. All right. So how about that? Can you see it now? There's like a box.
Okay, I thought you were reading from something else. We see Genesis 1. That's what you have.
You see the box?
No.
Okay. Okay. Do you see my cursor right here at 430?
Yes. Okay.
There's a box there. I'll just read through it. Okay.
Okay.
It says it's so small I can barely read it. It says plural, 1a, rulers, judges, 1b, divine ones. So these are humans, right? They can be humans. They can be spiritual, right? Powers, unseen powers, because it says rulers, judges, divine ones. That's ambiguous. Angels, okay? Angel can be a human or non-human messenger, right?
Right.
2a, lowercase god. Okay, so that would be masculine, comma, lowercase godds. That would be feminine. Okay. 2b, God-like one. So still ambiguous, right? Can be human or spiritual. 2c, works or special possessions of capital God. Notice 2d. It says the, and in parentheses, true, capital God. And then 2e, it just says capital God. So why is it that in 2d, they have in parentheses true, and then, but it's capital G, but then in 2e, it has just capital God.
But did they use the term God when we know that God is a more modern German word? What was their what was the word that was used? Because we know that God is that was not used then. What would have been how you would say it? Would it just be when you say the Most High, your power?
And that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point, because I want to show you something about that. That's an excellent point. Originally it was the Most High, your power, or the Most High, or something. Any rendering that's speaking to the Most High. But let's look at the impact of putting this God in there. Let's go to the 10 Commandments and take a look at it. So the God is Odin, the deity Odin, who came about in I guess I forgot the year, but we can look at it. It's German, like you said. You're correct on that. So, Doc, do you see this where it says Exodus chapter 20, the 10 Commandments?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you see where it says verse 3?
Yes. You shall have no other gods before me.
So now they have us speaking Odin. Capital God is Odin spelled in modern terms. So Odin, the spelling of Odin changed over the years until its current spelling. The current spelling of Odin is God. So now when we read through this and we speak and we talk, right, we're invoking this deity, which makes us break the first commandment. And we remember what we read in Deuteronomy 29.
Right.
Let me go back there. So let me go back there so we can see the severity of the consequences and why they did this. Okay. So let's take a look at 19.
While you're doing that, would Elohim also being Yahweh, Yahuwah's of the all source of many names. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Yeah, those are the El pantheon of deities. Yes,
Okay.
the El pantheon of deities, and then the Tetragrammaton goes back to Baal, the deity Baal. Okay, so Baal, when applied to a man, means like your
When you say
superior.
Baal also
Yeah.
who they call Baal.
Baal, yeah, Baal, same guy, same deity. So when used in reference to a human, it means superior or master or something like that. But when used to the Most High, and I can show you this, when used in reference to deity, it's the symbolical name of the Tetragrammaton. You can find that Strong's number 1180. Okay, is unavoidable, unescapable. But people who don't know how to read the grammar, they come across this stuff and they think that Baal is just master, but no, Baal is the actual deity in reference when it refers to the Most High. It is the deity Baal. It's in the lexicon. So let's look at. Can you guys see?
Let me get this up there. Is Odin synonymous with Asir, Lord of the underworld?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. But we can find out. We can find out because it's on Google.
Okay.
Yeah, we can find out about Odin. I just haven't looked at Odin in a while.
Do you want to bring this page up? Is that what it is? Your
Okay.
screen?
Say it again, Dr. G. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Screen up. You have a screen that you want to share?
Yeah, Deuteronomy Chapter 29. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, so we reviewed this earlier. Now, the context is invoking this deity Odin or Elohim or however they want to say it, right? So look at verse 19. When such a person, now remember, we're the children, we're in this contract, right? We're in the contract. So look at the punishment, verse 20. It says the Most High will never forgive them. Remember?
Right.
When he talked about calling on those other deities. Verse 16, when you lived in Egypt, you saw this, that, and the other. Verse 17, you saw among them the testing images and idols of wood and stone, of silver, of gold. Remember how they also, our people made that calf, right? Worship the calf when they were in the
golden calf. Mm-hmm.
Right. It says any man or woman, clan or tribe who turns away from the Most High to go worship the deities of those nations, right? And it says in verse 20, the Most High will never forgive that person, and his wrath and his zeal and all the curses of the book will fall on them. Right there. Okay, so this is why they use language to keep us in the curses. As long as we cannot read, as long as we don't understand grammar, as long as we don't understand etymology, they can play these word games with us, right? Remember, Grand Sheik always talks about denotative and connotative meaning.
Yes. Yeah,
this is what it has specific reference to. So we are breaking that first commandment. Right now, the Most High says in verse 30 that if we come back to him, right? Well, actually, let's go back there to refresh our memories on that. I just want to properly correlate so people will see how all of this stuff is really easy and makes sense once you get properly oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So remember Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. It says, when all these blessings and curses, well, we're in the curses, have been set, I have set before you, come on you. We're in the curses, and you take them to heart. That means you learn, right? You learn Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1 through 68. You learn all the blessings and the curses. Okay, you take them to heart. Wherever you are, that the Most High disperse you among the nations. So we're everywhere in the world, right? Everywhere.
Right.
2, and when you and your children return. So this is the return. This is the return. We're learning grammar. We're learning etymology. Like you said, the apocalypse, these things are coming to light now. It's coming to light now. and you return, but returning is a personal decision, right? You've got to come to class, you got to learn, you got to buy the books, you got to do everything that it takes for you to learn. And then it says, when you and your children return to the Most High and you obey Him. Other translation, well, this meaning right here means with sincerity, without hypocrisy. When it says with all your heart and all your soul, it's really with sincerity, complete sincerity, and without hypocrisy. Okay? According to everything that I command you today, that means you focus on the commandments that were given to Moses, specifically the 10 commandments. 3, then the Most High will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you and gather you back to everywhere that He scattered us from, right? So that's the significance of these divine names. When we call on the Elohims, the Tetragrammatons, and all its variations, it keeps us in the curses, right? So to return to the Most High means we have to learn grammar. We got to learn etymology, and we got to retake possession of this document so that we can start to do the things we were instructed to do, which is really easy. The 10 commandments are like really easy. Don't steal, right? Don't trespass on another man's property, for example. Don't have sex with another man's wife, right? Her uterus is her husband's property where he plants his seed, right? And that's where the child grows in the soil of the woman's uterus, and then it enters into the world, right? And so that's property. The woman is part of the man's ecclesiastical estate, right? In other words, the woman is a gift from the Most High, and all gifts are non-taxable, right? They're irrevocable. You can't take it away, but you can trick somebody. You can get somebody to give it up, right? Mm-hmm. You can get them to volunteer to give it up. Okay, but anyway, so that's pretty much that. So the whole thing with the Tetragrammaton, let me try to pull up Strong's number 1180. So let's deal with the Baal thing. Okay, so Baali. Can you see my Strong's number?
Yes.
Okay. It says word origin from Baal with pronoun suffix. What does it say here? My Baal, a symbolic name for Yah. So what is Yah? Yah is a contraction of Yahweh, right? A contraction means a short spelling. So instead of the, that's pretty clear, right?
Right.
Or no? Yeah. So this is Baal. So all we got to do is look up Baal. Now in the hardcover of the Strongs, you can get much more information from the words that were used to insert the vowels. But they can come to class. Anybody who wants to know more about this, you can come to class. But for right now, I'll show you Baal. And remember, Baal, oh, my web browser is not working now. I don't know what's going on, Dr. G, but it's frozen.
Okay.
All right, can you guys see me or hear me?
Yeah, we see you.
My web browser is frozen. I can't do anything. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's frozen. So Baal is a deity.
We've always seen Baal in taught as some kind of a deity that was demonic, needed sacrifices as for worship, and so forth. And so right here is saying that it's also that Yah and Baal are the same. Now, when you look at something, say, such as the story of Enki and Enlil, you would see that where God appears to be schizophrenic in the Bible, accounts of one day or creating and then next, being angry and wanting to destroy everybody and everything, every man, woman, child, animal, and so forth. And what some are saying is that we are looking at the account of two different gods, one, and that Yahweh that we've been given an endearment towards may actually be the entity that was the negative God, as opposed to, you know, the venerated God that we've been told that.
That's correct. That you're exactly right, Doc. You are exactly right.
So we've
Genesis
been
chapter.
worship
Mhm.
the demonic, so to speak, God.
That's right. That's right. You are exactly right. You are exactly right. And the religions have directed people into that. You're exactly right. Genesis chapter 1 is a rewrite of the Enuma Elish, and the time frame, huh?
The Enuma Elish, is that what you said?
The Enuma Elish. It's a rewrite of the Enuma Elish.
Okay.
It's a rewrite of the Enuma Elish. So if we were to go, when if my web browser starts to work again, I can't. My screen is frozen. I'll show you. Matter of fact, I lost the point I wanted to show you. So I'll go back to Genesis 1 if I can, and I'll show you where the giants are in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 or verse 2. I don't remember. But you're exactly right. That's what's going on with the, we were talking about Baal. That's what's going on with it. The tetragrammaton is Baal. So this goes back to one of the giants, okay? Goes back to one of the giants. Is not the Most High. So,
and that's how you said we've been lied to. So we're doing all this negative worshiping of other gods, thinking that we're worshiping the true and living so-called God, Most High, our power, but yet we've been directed this way. It put us out of covenant.
That's right. It put us, as long as we don't know this, we are permanently in the curses. And until we learn Deuteronomy chapter 28, learn the contract, right? For example, Doc, if someone calls you on the phone and says, Dr. G, when are you going to pay your $50,000 jet fuel bill that you consumed last month? Right? So, of course, you're going to say, wait a minute. First of all, I don't have a contract with you, right?
Right.
I don't owe you anything. That's going to be the discussion, right? But it's not going to be, well, I don't have a jet plane. When did, what are you talking? It's not going to be that. It's going to be produce the contract. If you don't have a contract, we have nothing to talk about. I don't have a contract. You see what I'm saying? But in our case, our people are getting off into the religion and all the technical stuff about the religion and the doctrines and what do they call it? What's it begins with a P? Where they break down every scripture and they show you all the scriptures on a topic. These things have absolutely nothing to do with the contract. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the focus should be on the contract, right? Not on the jet fuel that you consume because you don't have a contract, right? It shouldn't be on the doctrine. It should be on the contract. But what the religious people have done, they've redirected us into doctrine and moral issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And have us hoping for something in the by and by when you go to heaven or in the kingdom, when in fact, according to the contract, our blessings are to come now if we return to the Most High. Now, not in the future where you got to die and go to heaven or you got to wait for the kingdom to come. No, the contract says return to the Most High, and now He's going to kneel before you, give you all the gold, all the land, all the beautiful homes, all the jewelry, fine clothing, make you captains of industry, make you banking titans. Do it now. This is according to the contract that we just saw. So in Deuteronomy chapter 28, the book that I wrote, I don't know why my screen is frozen, Dr. G, but I can't do anything.
We've had technical difficulties tonight, unfortunately. I was frozen for a half hour, so I wouldn't put it past anything to happen. But this is a really good discussion from a standpoint. We're actually coming up on. We have about 6 minutes before we close, and I wanted to ask you with regard to contractual obligations, even in the natural now. We could take these same tenets that you're pointing out, these same principles, if you will, and apply them. Like you said, you mentioned jet fuel, but most people argue, they get a letter from a so-called creditor, and where we're told don't get in discussion with them. So, but people start arguing well, I didn't do this and I didn't do that, instead of getting right to well, where is the contract? And like, for instance, even in acquiring what we call so-called buying a home, we know that, or probably in the first several weeks of after you've closed the deal, which you really find out later that they're taking it out of your own account and then charging you 4 times as much. But if you say, well, produce the contract, I want the wet seal contract with the signatures and so forth, they can't produce it. Yeah. And if we went through the process of reversion and all of that we could actually probably fight a lot of losses that we suffer. But you mentioned something else when you were talking about, I'm not sure of the context, but I wanted to interject and I didn't. And you were talking about with the land. Our ancestors were landowners, and we dealt with land on an allodial basis, and we passed the land on to our children's children's children. And when you see a lot of these pictures of so-called slave families, and I was telling someone these when we dismantle his story, please go back and look at that video with that brother Amanara and I did a week ago on Sunday. But when you dismantle history, you'll find that the pictures that were taken and put in books of so-called slave clans were in fact landowner families that would pose for pictures because they worked the land. And then a lot of the European sons and daughters or Albions came and actually worked the land or swindled them. They found a way to swindle them out of their own land by beginning to sell them seed and so forth, and say, oh, you don't have to pay, but you have to produce XYZ. And then if you don't produce XYZ, they did it until they got to a point where the landowners couldn't pay back to those that they were indebted to and lost the land. But they put pictures up and said these were slaves, when a lot of times these were just families that owned the actual land and posed for the pictures, not knowing that they would go down in history and be labeled slaves.
Right. And what's interesting about that, Doc, what came to my mind, I don't know if it's off topic or what, but as you were talking, what came to my mind is that, did Rome actually exist? Right? You know why? Because of that if Rome did not exist, then that means we push that whole that 2,000 years or whatever, that is removed, and that puts us right back into the biblical time frame where all of this stuff is happening with the contract.
Well, that's interesting that you would say that, because why would they have the phrase Rome wasn't built in a day?
Yeah.
It just occurred to me. Why would that even be such an important phrase? Because they have a tendency to tell you the truth in something that seemingly is innocently, innocent, or lies, fiction. It's just but why would they have that statement, Rome wasn't built in a day?
That's right. And from what I understand, there's a lot of people who are saying that when you look at the evidence, Rome never existed. So if that's the case, we're coming out of captivity, right? Let's say during Babylonian times or whatever. So that means we would be right at the point of the next upcoming captivity. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that will put the contract front and center. Because when you think about it, okay, so here's a contract. 2,000 years go by and nothing happens, right? That doesn't make sense. It's kind of, actually, you know what? psychologically, it makes you say, well, you know, maybe these scriptures are not true. Because 2,000 years, right? It's taken 2,000 years for something to happen. Well, there's no point in making the promises. There's no point in the contract. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when these scholars talk about Rome, when you look at the ancient structures and all of the other evidence, they say there's a lot of evidence to show that this is just a fictitious, made up thing to give the hybrid a history, right?
And again, I say history is the hybrid's interjection into our Moorish reality. We have always existed. And so, you know, history or his Tory, and Tory itself means robber, brigand, British loyalist. So we have to, I will never call myself having a history. I've done it in the past, but now that, you know, Most High gave me the enlightenment to look up those two words, his and Tory, and then find out that Tory is actually, you know, like I said, a robber, brigand, British loyalist. So it makes sense that he stole and or projected himself and put himself into the timeline.
That's right.
Set the timeline and called it his story, and didn't lie because it was his theft.
You know what I would like to show you? I would like to show you in Genesis 1 where it shows the creation of the hybrid.
Go ahead. We have time.
I can't, my screen's not moving.
Okay.
I'm still locked out. I can't do anything. This has never happened. Never ever happened.
Well, I never had, well, one time I did have an issue where I got locked out, but I never had my camera like totally go out. So right now I'm on this horrible camera that's actually on the computer. But you know, if it wasn't for that, because my Logitech went out, and I'm glad I have this mic, but I am going to have a new microphone. I have to just like, you know, give a shout out. You know, our folks are so good. This right here, there's a brother, C. Wayne from Jamaica, that actually sent me a brand new microphone, podcaster microphone. I just got to figure out how to connect the arm and all that stuff here. But I want to give a shout out to the brother all the way from Jamaica who sent to me a brand new podcaster microphone. So I know he doesn't see me on it, and he probably said if Dr. G had it, maybe she wouldn't have any problem. But I'm gonna have it up. I'm gonna have it up by Friday when Grand Sheik is here. But you know, I just love, you know, the kinfolk that tune into House of Reawakening Minds and our various live streams. That mean they support, you know, I just love this kinfolk, that this connection that we have, the tribe, if you will, and just having you on today to talk about, you know, how the what we've been given in the Bible was actually given to us in reverse. Can we say that? Sort of in some cases in reverse, and in many cases just flat out given to us in a way that excluded us from our own inheritance and our own, as you say, blessings or having the Most High kneel before us as the king giving gifts to, you know, or father rather giving gifts to a child. And so we have been struggling for naught, you know, just because of our, I guess, our naivety, would you call it, in a sense, our brainwashing that has allowed us to that has allowed a religion to overtake common sense. The knowledge,
Can I read something?
Innately, what we have inside of us.
That's right. Can I read something to you, Dr. G? Can you see this? I don't know if my camera is working or not.
Yeah, it is. It is strong.
You can see the book?
Yeah, that's
right.
Strong. Yeah.
So I'm going to read from Strong's, Strong's number 3068. Okay.
It's kind of flip, but yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to read from Strong's 3068.
Okay.
This is the Tetragrammaton. Okay. I just want to make this point. And if I had control of my screen, I would be able to show you from the grammar. I would be able to show you from the grammar that this tetragrammaton, what it actually really means, and then put it in the context of where it shows up, which is more powerful actually than what I'm going to read you now. But just let me share this. Strong's number 3. This is the tetra.
See, now they're breaking up. They don't want you to read this.
Eternal, Jehovah, Jewish national name of capital God. So the question I have to the audience is, are you Jewish? The answer, if you're richly melanated, the answer should be, you're not Jewish, right? We're not Jewish. We know who the Jewish people are. So this is the tetragrammaton is the Jewish national name of God. Okay. Paragraph 1. The tetragrammaton Yahweh appears without its own vowels. That's significant. Without its own vowels, and it extracts pronunciation, and its exact pronunciation is debated. 2. The Hebrew text does insert vowels for Adonai, which is recorded in Strong's 136. Okay, so let's go there. Strong's 136. I just want to show you guys something. I want to show you beyond a doubt what this is. So I go to, in other words, this is saying that the vowels that are used in Jehovah come from this word Adonai. So here's the meaning of Adonai, and here's why they use the vowels. Okay, it says here from Strong's 113, the Lord, used as a proper name of God only. That's significant. In the form Adonai, the words Lord, par excellence, or Lord over all, even as it sometimes does in the form of Adon. So now let's go to 113. Let's go to 113.
Was that 136?
That was 136, yes, Doc. 113 reads, Strong's 113. This is significant, everyone. Please read, because this solves a lot of issues here. Please listen carefully. From an unused root, okay, meaning to rule, sovereign, controller, human or divine, right? Human or divine. All right. So let's skip down to paragraph 3. When applied to capital God, Adon is used in several senses. It signifies his position as the one who has authority, like a master, over his people to reward the obedient and punish the disobedient. Let's skip down to 3c. In some cases, the word appears to be a title, suggesting capital God's relationship to and position over Israel. Okay, now let's continue. In such context, Adon is a formal divine name. How many people knew that? Adon is a formal divine name. Now, Adon here is lowercase a, not capital case A, lowercase a. So that has meaning, right? Adon is a formal divine name and should probably be transliterated if the proper emphasis is to be retained. Synonym, YHWH, Jehovah, Strong's number 3068. So when this word is used in reference to a deity, it has to do with, their God, right? Mm-hmm. It's synonymous with the tetragrammaton. So everybody, please, who's listening, write down Strong's number 1180. Strong's number 1180. And this is where the expose comes out. Excuse me, Strong's number 1180. It reads, Baal, my master, right? And in one instance, it can refer to a man, but whenever it refers to a deity, okay, It's the equivalent, or it is synonymous or the same thing as Jehovah, Yahweh, etc., the Tetragrammaton. A symbolic name for Jehovah, Baali. That's Strong's 1180. Okay, Strong's 1180. Can you guys see that?
Well, it's not clear, but yeah.
So there it is.
So Baal and Jehovah or Yah, right?
Yes.
Or the Yod He Vav He is actually Baal.
It's
And
actually
so
Baal.
Baal, they sometimes put Baal in the Bible, but like they put Baal in the same context of, say, Moloch, or
Right.
one of the other. So we've been told, a lot of us are going, Yah will be there, and we the sons of Yah and the daughters of Yah, and we find out that we are going against the true Most High, our power.
Which is why we got sent into captivity. Remember Deuteronomy 28, verse let me read this. Verse 60. I wish I could share the screen, but my screen is frozen. Verse 60, where is it? Oh, verse 68. And the Most High will bring you back in ships to Egypt. Now, when you look up Egypt, that's a house of bondage in scripture, right?
Mm-hmm.
A journey that I promised that you should never make again. And there you shall offer yourself. Now, you know, of course, that's not how it's written in the Hebrew, right? You will offer yourselves as slaves, but no one will buy you. And what it says is that you will be sold, right, into captivity, and no man can redeem you. So why redeem? Redeem is because in our law, in our tradition, if you lost your property, you could hire yourself out as an employee, right? That's what they call a slave. You hire yourself out as an employee, right? But let's say if you took money, you took a debt and you can't afford to pay it back, now you can hire yourself out as an employee, but one of your close relatives can pay it off and redeem you, right? So this is saying there's no way out, right? That's it. So when you correlate that to, that website Slave Voyages, like you were saying, Dr. G, how all these people, they got on the suffix to their name, Netanyahu, or all of these other Yahoo suffix to their name. They're carrying the Baal deity to their name in violation of the first commandment. So of course he sent us into slavery. He said he won't forgive that. Deuteronomy 29,
But are those that carry that, they're not us anyway? So that might be the deity to whom they have allegiance anyway.
Well, many of them, that's true. Many of them are, but many of them are our people. That's why we got sent into captivity, because we kept on calling on those deities. Like even right now, a lot of Yasaharla, they don't want to give up their deities. I don't care what religion they're in. They don't want to give it up. So, I mean, no matter what I know from experience, no matter what but I wish I could show you this, Doc. My screen, it's in Deuteronomy 29. And let me see, Deuteronomy 29. Oh, okay, I'm going to read it out of here. Deuteronomy 29, verse 29. The secret things belong to the Most High, your power. Okay, what that means, if you look in the Hebrew, and remember, this is a contract. The word secret, that's mystical religion, right? The words here that are used are in Hebrew is hidden and concealed. Okay, so these things that are concealed from us that we don't have privy to, right? These belong to the Most High. But notice what it says next. But the things that are revealed belong to us. So revealed is also kind of mystical. It's not legal terminology, right? Not lawful terminology. When you look into the Hebrew, you're going to see disclosed. Disclosed is lawful legal terminology, right? So the things that the Most High discloses to us and to our children forever, notice why? That we may do all the words of this law. So in other words, the Most High is going to disclose this information to us. And like you said, during the time of the Great Awakening, the revealing. He discloses it to us. Why? So that we can follow his instructions, right? And then why? Because he wants to give us all of these blessings. No, he wants to kneel before us and give us the world to rule and to live well like kings and priests that we are. But we're in the degraded state of mind. You know, the whole I am, the whole I am, that goes back to the reticular activating system in the brain. So I am, yes, I am a millionaire, right? I am poor. I am a great lover, right? I'm honest. Whatever follows I am is what you are. And that's the great design that the Most High put in us to make us deities, right? Or quote unquote gods. We have the power to create, right? Based upon, in other words, we create our own reality.
Absolutely. And I believe that yeah, the reticular activation system, that once you start to, you know, the synapses start the firing and so forth after repetition of certain phraseology, then it becomes connected, and then it eventually goes from you saying it to you being it.
Yes, and they took this ancient science, Dr. G, and deified it. This is an ancient science of how man creates his own reality, how man becomes whatever he decides I am, right? They
Or
took
as
the
a man thinketh, they put it in there, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yes, and they took that ancient science and put it to the tetragrammaton. I am, I will be, whoever. So this is the fraud. You see what I'm saying? I am. You see what I mean? I am. The Most High gave me the power, capacity through my reticular activating system to create the future that I want, right? If I want to take the blessings, then I start thinking I am, right? And I follow those instructions. I make goals, everything that I want in my life. But if I'm pre-programmed to be in the curses, right? Always expecting the worst to happen to me, never thinking I'm poor, you know, I'm bad, right? All of these. So your I am is going to keep you in the curses.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But anyway, so
I get the point. Whatever follows I am, and if that's what you kind of keep as your mantra, so to speak, if that's your confession, then you will attract it. That's exactly what you attract.
Yes, and don't give that glory to a deity. Don't say that this tetragrammaton is the reason why you were able to recover from this, or the reason why you were able to do that. No, say I accomplished that because I am. The Most High gave me the capacity to do that powerful thing, right? Or to get off of whatever habit you had, or to achieve what great goals. Give the credit to the Most High for making you with the capacity to be the deity I am. You see what I'm saying? Everybody.
Right. And you off subject a little bit, but you're a medical doctor, among other things. So you're a medical doctor, and so you know the power of, even, you know, in the situation that we're in now, when there's a constant bombardment of the morbidity rate and what's happening. I'm trying to dance around it, you know, but of what's causing thus and so. And I heard something where someone said there's only about 6% of those who have succumbed lately over the last 8 months actually succumbed to that, and everything else had 1 to 2 underlying factors, and then that was there too. So from you being a medical doctor, you know the power of, say, so-called Western medicine over the mind, mind's ability to actually, you know, like the placebo effect.
Yes.
That's
true. That's real.
Yeah. So many people will die from the diagnosis.
That's right.
Because they believed it.
That's
and
right.
then they manifested, you know, that which was their end result, while others will defy the prognosis based on their disbelief in what was said, and their belief in this is not my time, or I don't have that.
Yeah.
And as a medical doctor, I would say, would you say that the power of the mind, the I am, is probably even more powerful than the medicinal potions that?
Yeah, you're exactly right, because we're like we have this great inner pharmacy, right? Where we can produce whatever it is we want if we're aware of it, Now we have to have certain baseline things, like we have to have proper mineral nutrition. This is why they took the minerals out of the food, because without proper mineral nutrition, your biochemical functions won't function properly. So it's basically like taking your car and taking out a couple of the spark plugs, right? Eventually it's going to shut down. So when they took the mineral nutrition out of the food, we're still able to function, but now we're getting cancer, we decline in, every aspect of our being. So if we can maintain proper mineral nutrition, our bodies can produce anything. It's all in a matter of mind. I am. Right. So I hope everybody in the audience will give the praise and the glory to the Most High for the way that we are made, and not give it to some deity, right? Because it is us. It's us. I think in the Moorish community, they say the higher and the lower self, right? And you decide which team you want to be on. You want to be with the higher self. It's all in the matter of who I am is.
Well, listen, this has been wonderful, and you are you're one of the many who have disbelieved the lie that this particular landmass, and I'm not saying that this landmass isn't great, but the colonizers, being on this landmass and kind of putting the people under subjugation has not made it, has taken away its greatness, has taken away its mineral and content, and all of the good things, has sucked the life out. And so many have been given false imagery of all these places being so terrible and this being the greatest place, and it's just like we got to make them feel like their prison is their paradise.
Yeah.
And so you being right now in Southeast Asia and calling that home. I mean, you were telling me something to take, and you said you do have these, and you brought up I said, oh, that's a dragon fruit. I guess you didn't know the name of it, but it's plentiful over there. And I told you they're like $5.99, $6.99 for one. You said they charge that much over there? Yes, they do.
And I bought six of them. I bought six of them for about $1.50.
Oh, I want to just scream. You all know if you know anything about a dragon fruit, we might pay $6.99 or $5.99 for one. You bought six of them for $1.99 US, equivalent to the US dollar.
Yep. And the fruit and vegetable over here is amazing. I mean, they have fruit and vegetable in the US, you can't eat good. Here, like, I eat good every day. I got all the fresh fruit, the greens, I mean, the fresh vegetables, the greens, the purples, everything.
All of the colors of
everything all around you. And then all the fruit, different varieties of lemon. They got the green oranges, the oranges. They got all kind of coffee. Everywhere you go, there's coffee, right? And they got herbs, it's just amazing.
You're in a place that the U.S. corporation decimated, and I'm assuming that it there was a great rebuild. It had to be after all those years of a war there, and so we don't get the proper imagery of what what has taken place in the years since that particular war.
But you know what, Doc, that they don't tell in the U.S.? They don't tell about the reason of the war. The French, in the mid 1800s, they came in and colonized, enslaved the Vietnamese people, right? They came in and colonized. And then after the First World War, they got the Vietnamese broke free, right? And then the French said, well, wait a minute, we're coming back in 1954. They come back to war to recolonize them. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, recolonized them. Then the US jumped in. So nobody knows this story. This was about putting the Vietnamese people in slavery, right? But when you go into the provinces, this is an amazing country. I mean, if you were to see I went to a farm a couple times and I saw the people, and it took me back, and I thought about, wow, my ancestors in America, once we had our own land. I saw myself, right, on my own land as my ancestors were in the Americas. And we were far, I literally saw myself, and I realized just how much we lost, by seeing the people. It's like a beautiful thing. They have, where I went, a beautiful farmland and hills, and they have two lakes. They have two lakes, and they go fishing, right? They put the rod in, 3 minutes later, they got huge fish. Then they don't wait hours, right? A couple minutes later, they got these huge fish. And then everybody goes, like the women went out into the garden, and they come back and with all of these vegetables, and they prepared a meal, and they laid out the blanket, some type of floor matting or whatever, and they put the food on the floor.
Banana leaves they use the banana leaves.
Yeah, all of that. And we sat there and ate on the floor. Everybody, we eating with the chopsticks, but also with the hands, and people passing. It was an amazing thing, and it just made me realize what we had and what we lost, And then when I walk outside, they don't have like the big Walmarts and all of that stuff here. So they still have mom and pop restaurants, mom and pop stores. And so I think, like, when I was a child growing up in the hood, you could see, we still had our own stores, even if it was just a candy store. Right. But now we don't have anything. So when I'm here and I see all this commerce, everyday people got their own stores, even like at their house, they got a store. And I think to myself, wow, these people put in the US, they put in public policy where we can't have a store in a residential area, right? And they make it so that we can't have our own store because we can't compete with the Walmarts and the big stores. So they got us in poverty intentionally.
But it's not like that there.
Not like that here. It's just amazing here. Everybody's got a shop, coffee shops on every corner, all kind of stores, laundry. You name it, all kind of commerce. And we in the US are missing out on all of that, right?
And we've got to get it back. We've got to get back our inheritance and so forth. And we've got to, like I said, I hope those that are listening will actually, sign up for the classes that you have been talking about. And I want to make sure, enroll in online classes at the zionlawschool.org, and learn this. It's I think you use Zoom, right? These are Zoom classes.
Yeah.
You have students all over the globe that are part of the classes, and you will really benefit from the classes. I sat in on one class. My problem is twofold. That normally, when I wake up on Saturday morning, it's past the time that the school class started, or I have things that I'm doing that won't let me right at this time commit myself to a regular every week class on Saturday. So, but I thoroughly enjoyed the class and the instruction, and I know that those that are viewing who want to know more, want to learn more, will benefit highly. Now, tell me, what is the youngest age for enrolling in your classes? Because I remember the one sister seemed to be the youngest. It was a very brilliant college student.
She, in this current class, she's 22 or 23, but I've had a student as young as I think 14, 16, and 18.
Okay, so I wanted to say that because if anybody, maybe has a child that they would like to take the class, I wanted to know if there was any, as long as they can, I guess, comprehend and.
Oh, most definitely. And even if people have children, if enough children want to take the class, I can teach the class and teach it at the level for children. If there's enough people who want me to teach their child, I do that. Teach them to pick the graphs and everything else.
And children normally have a better grasp of concepts because their brain hasn't got they haven't become as rigid and formed, if you will. But of course, now, they've been saying, it only takes 7 years. The first 7 years are the most formative years in a child's learning process. But if they're young and they want, so if you're hearing what Dr. Yasapa is saying, if you have children and you want your children to learn, anyone who does, and you make that inquiry, I'm thinking you will get back to them when you get enough children to, make a class that you would actually do that. And that's great, because now so many children are at home homeschooling anyway. So this would give them something different that they could learn. Also, for those that might be listening, that there are opportunities even in Vietnam for those of you who do want to get off of Turtle Island, and maybe you can teach ESL, English as a second language. Are there opportunities for melanated people besides yourself, like yourself?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people here teaching English.
Okay.
A lot of expats from many different countries, also African countries too, here teaching English. So anyone who wants to come here, but it has to be, can you guys see me? My screen went black.
You're still here. We
Okay.
see you.
It has to be after COVID, because right now the country is closed. But here, COVID was, they managed COVID so excellently. Only a few cases, and life really didn't change.
But they got to play the game, right?
Yeah, we're back to normal here. Everything is.
Are you masked? Are you wearing masks there though?
You don't have to wear a mask outside, but some stores will ask you to put a mask on when you go inside. But now you can go. There was a case recently in a place, I forgot the name of the province, but they isolated it. But the rest of the country is, you can still travel. You just can't go to that place.
Okay, and you just can't. They don't want anybody to bring anything in there more stuff like that.
Yeah, and see, it was only like 2 cases that came up, but they closed down that whole province. Which is also good, because life is great here in Saigon. In Saigon, life is great. I went someplace last week or the week before, about 5 hours away. This is just a gorgeous country. I would love to buy land here, be here and write the book. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to support me, you can purchase any of my books. My latest book is I Can Read Deuteronomy Chapter 28, verse 1 through 14, volume 2. And then I have I Can Read Deuteronomy Chapter 28.
Got you frozen right now. So I'm gonna put up his link, because as you can see, again, he is frozen. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank you all for tuning in. We have had all kinds of technical difficulties during this broadcast, but he's calling me on the phone, yeah. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone, Dr. Yasapa, because I know you got shut down. Well, I'm still live, so I'm getting ready to close out, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this very good presentation that you gave us and the information that you shared. And I believe that there will be many, as a result of what the information you shared, who are going to be signing up for those 2 classes that you mentioned. And the name of your books, the I Can Read. Can they get the books by going to your zionlawschool.org site, or do they have to go on Amazon, or I don't know, or should they? They can get it
everyone at zionlawschool.org.
Okay.
They're also available on Amazon.
Mhm.
Amazon takes too much money. I mean, so if I ask everybody to buy it on my website so I can, I don't have to pay Amazon most of the money.
Okay, so apparently we hear that, and Amazon takes too much of the author's money. So if you want to get his books, just go to his website. Not only can you enroll in the classes, but you can purchase the books. And we so appreciate you being on the show. I am about to close out. Appreciate each and every one of your patience with the technical difficulties that we have undertaken during this this broadcast, but I know that you got a lot out of it. I know I did, and this will not be the last time, Dr. Yasapa. We will have you back on the show again, I'm sure. I want to hear about all of the people who signed up and took your class. Thank you so much. I know it's like it's early in the, well, it's about probably about 9, almost 10 in the morning there on Wednesday, and we're still on Tuesday night here. So I know you got up early for this, and so maybe you can go back and get some rest. But I thank you so much for being on the show.
Okay, thank you, Dr. G. Can I invite people to the class every Saturday at 9 a.m.?
Yes.
Central Standard Time?
Okay.
Four classes. That's my time free. And can I give you the link, Dr. G, and you can put it, I'll send it to you? Yes,
there's a link for the class. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Dr. Yasapa is going to give me. Go ahead.
If anyone wants to come, you can come for 1 month. It's every Saturday at 9 a.m. We're going to go through topics that we went through today, but in more specific, more exact detail.
Okay.
Dr. D, thank you so much.
You're
for
welcome.
allowing me to be on your platform. And thanks everyone who was in the audience, and also those people who asked questions and everything. I'm grateful. And with that, I guess I'll say Shalawama.
Shalawama. And what does Shalawama mean?
Shalawama means peace. It also means may the Most High return to you everything that was taken from you.
Shalawama, may the Most High return to you everything that was taken from you. And it's Shalarama, or let me say it correctly. Say it. I'm going to say it again. Say it again. Shalawama. Shalawama. May the Most High return to you everything that was taken
from you. May all debts be repaid. May you be made complete.
Wow.
So that's.
We need to start saying that to each other. Shalawama. Shalawama to you, Dr. Yasapa. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Shalawama.
Shalawama. All right, y'all. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's rock out with Dr. G. Love you much. Dr. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. Really? Who's she? 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 Yeah, that's me.